now. Yeah. Good morning, Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota.
Good morning.
All right, that's the energy. Please rise in body and/or spirit for our opening hymn 347.
Welcome. Thank you. My name is Klaus Obermeit, and I'm chair of the worship committee. We want to extend a warm welcome to our visitors, both on campus and over live stream. We've invited our visitors to participate in any of our events. We welcome visitors to find out more about us and Unitarian Universalism by registering on our virtual guest book, which you can find via 2 links on our website at uusrq.org. If you are in person, you can register at the welcome table. If you do, we'll send you our weekly newsletter and Zoom links to our virtual events. We invite you to join us for coffee and conversation after the service. We look forward to getting to know each other. Now, tomorrow evening at 6:30, you are invited to the annual Nehemiah Action Gathering hosted by SURE, that's Sarasota United for Responsibility and Equity. This year's focus is mental health access for youth and young adults in our community. Community members will gather with decision makers to present research findings and secure commitments for concrete solutions. All are welcome to attend, stand together, and advocate for meaningful change. Bring a friend. That's at the First Congregational United Church of Christ. They're on Euclid, just north of Bella Vista. And now we welcome Jane Hoffman back for special music. Thank you. May the light around us guide our footsteps and hold us fast to the best and most righteous that we seek. May the darkness around us nurture our dreams and give us rest, so that we may give ourselves to the work of our world. Let us seek to remember the wholeness of our lives, the weaving of light and shadow in this great and astonishing dance in which we move. Please join me now in lighting our chalice. Join me in reciting our values of love as printed in your order of service and displayed above. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love.
Good morning, everyone. So today's story is, If You Give a Mouse an iPhone, written by Android.
Can I have a nail? Can I have a nail, scissors, and a mirror, and a broom, and a bucket, and a mop?
Not right now. Look, do you see how busy I am?
And some crayons, and a pen and paper, and tape, and a refrigerator, and...
If you give a mouse an iPhone,
I'll tell you what. If you leave me alone for 10 minutes, I'll let you play on my phone.
Oh, boy!
But just for 10 minutes.
Oh, boy!
he's not going to ask for a cookie or a glass of milk or anything at all. In fact, he won't hear a word you say.
Okay, applesauce, I'm all done now, and I've got a big surprise. Time to put that away. Applesauce?
And if he doesn't hear a word you say, he won't know you're taking him on a special trip.
Isn't this the greatest surprise ever? Applesauce?
He'll miss out on all the kettle corn and funnel cake and ice cream and corn dogs and cheese fries and
OMG, these are the best nachos ever.
he won't even realize he's on the Kathmandu coaster.
Isn't this the most fun ever? Applesauce?
And if he doesn't realize he's on the Kathmandu coaster, he won't remember to buckle his seatbelt, and he'll probably take a little ride of his own. And chances are, if he takes a little ride of his own, he'll accidentally open all the cages. But he won't have the slightest idea what's happening.
Applesauce?
And if he doesn't know what's happening, he won't watch where he's going.
Look out!
And he'll probably march right out of the wild animal amusement park
Applesauce?
and straight into the sea.
Watch out for the cliff.
And if he falls into the sea, chances are he'll end up on some distant island.
Is that Minecraft?
So you'll have to get a boat, and you'll probably have to camp out for the night, since it will be too late to paddle home.
You do know that this much screen time can be good for you, right?
Then, about the time you run out of energy, the phone battery will too.
Ah!
And when the battery runs out, he'll totally freak.
No! No, citizen, so panic.
And when he totally freaks, he'll probably beg you for a charger.
Please.
And chances are, if he begs you for a charger, you'll point out that you're on a remote island without any outlets.
See?
Oh, yeah, cool.
And pretty soon, he'll forget all about the charger.
Got any graham crackers?
And the iPhone to go with it.
By the way, how do we get here?
The end. Good point. How did we get here? Yeah. So remember, there's nothing on your screen device that will ever give you the same spiritual meaning as being present in this moment with the people and the nature around you. The people who make these screen devices actually want you to forget about the people and the world around you. They know that they have created an addictive and something that is addictive, and yet your well-being is not at the top of their list. Money is. So resist. Stay connected to the real world. Though it's harder to figure out, you'll find what makes you feel more whole. So thank you, Rowan and Clark, for helping me with the story, and I now invite any children and youth to join me for a fun art project. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Reverend J. Wolin, the settled minister here at the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. Our centering inwards today are from the Vietnamese Buddhist monk, the Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's an excerpt from his essay, Resting in the River. Resting is a very important practice. We have to learn the art of resting. In our consciousness, there are wounds also, lots of pains. Our consciousness also needs to rest in order to restore itself. The Zen master Ling Chi said that the miracle is not to walk on burning charcoal or in the air or on the water. The greatest miracle of all is to be alive. We have to awaken ourselves to the truth that we are here, alive, right? We have to be here. We have to bring ourselves back to the here and the now for the miracle to be possible. Therefore, each breath we take becomes a miracle. If you're able to live like that, each moment will be very nourishing and healing. The Buddha said that the past is gone, the future is not yet here. Let us not regret the past. Let us not worry about the future. Let us attend to the present moment and live deeply in the present moment. Because the present moment is the only moment where you can touch life. Life is always available in the present moment. I would like to propose to you a short poem that you might like to use as you breathe. I have arrived. I am home in the here, in the now. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate, I dwell. The last line of this poem is wonderful. In the ultimate, I dwell. The ultimate here is the true foundation of your being. The more our solidity and our freedom grows, the deeper we touch the foundation of our own being. That is the door for emancipation, for the greatest relief. As we go into a time of silence, I invite you to just breathe. Notice your breath and just be in the present moment with your breath. Well, I am happy to report that being part of a religious community is good for your health. And so if you care about your friends, please invite them to attend, not just for religious enlightenment, but at least for their health, if nothing else. Now, there have been numerous medical studies that corroborate this. Now, I don't know, does anybody watch Late Night with Seth Meyers here? Okay, so he gets absolutely giddy when new medical studies come out, and I very much relate to that. Yeah, I think, like many of you, want to be informed and updated about new knowledge. And this is part of our value of the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. But I admit I'm often fascinated how different studies completely contradict each other, especially about food and health issues. Recently there have been numerous conflicting studies about the benefits and risks of coffee. So sometimes I wake up in the morning, I think, well, I am helping extend my life, and other times I think, well, I am, going to die earlier, depending on what study came out last. Sadly, though, I do have to say, and I have looked, I still have not found one study that says pizza is good for me. I've looked. Well, Myers usually uses these actual studies in a satirical way, but it points out that just because there's a correlation that is found between two events does not necessarily mean causation or even relevancy. So we have to dig deeper into the facts to understand. And I thought the most ridiculous study I read was that smoking saves your knees from arthritis. This was an actual study, a review of 48 studies involving 500,000 people, and it turned up a correlation that men who smoked for decades needed less knee surgery. And the researcher at the end said, the protective effect of smoking is likely to be false, probably because the smokers died before needing knee surgery. So when I tell you that there are studies that show that people belonging to religious communities is good for your health and longevity in life, we should dig a little deeper into those studies. It is not just because that you walk into this building, right, that you become healthy. No, there are other underlying effects. So first, going to religious services, I almost said church, but I didn't, creates good habits. For those who know that joke, you'll get it, I'll tell you later. You are likely to be more active. I think all the people who work on our garden out here, the memorial garden, or other areas fixing up the buildings and grounds, or even those who join our bicycle club, they are active, right? So if you want to get healthier, I invite you to join our garden or building team. They always need people. But also, as I've spoken about before, many religions have food rules. Well, we don't have any rules here about that. But we as Unitarian Universalists, we do promote ethical eating as a way to remind us to be conscious of our health and the environment. And if you come to our potlucks the second Sunday of every month, you will certainly find that there are healthy vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free dishes to have the opportunity to eat. So, though I want to point out, it's not just about physical, being physically active, though, or how we eat. It's also about being mentally active and healthy as well. Ours is not a religion that tells you what to believe, right? We require that you dig deep and examine what you believe. And going to our religious community encourages you, in our case, it prods you, actually, to think about your values and living out those values in your lives. And I think living in alignment with your values leads to better mental health. I think just the discipline of sitting through a service or a religious education program can be considered a spiritual discipline in our lives. And having spiritual disciplines makes us more conscious human beings. I'd also say another underlying factor is that people who belong to religious organizations tend to have larger social networks. And just having those networks often offers members emotional and even physical support. So let's remember that in all of our dealings with each other. Religious life, when we are at our best, is a constant reminder that we are loved and cared for. Hopefully, after coming together in worship, hearing my sermons, listening to beautiful music, singing hymns together, participating in some of our religious, spiritual, or justice education and practice, you are challenged, inspired, and hopefully feeling connected to others through the various forms of meaning-making. I think about that phrase, meaning-making. When we feel our lives have meaning, we tend to be in a healthier frame of mind. when we feel that we belong somewhere, that we are not alone, but that we are part of something larger than just ourselves, that helps our mental health as well. And lastly, in regard to underlying factors, there is a practical aspect of just having people to physically be with us when we are going through life changes, including illnesses and life transitions. We forget how many people are alone in this world and how many people would benefit from the life-changing connections that this religious community, and I would say any religious community, can provide. Now, I know many of you do this sacred ministry of presence informally, but I also want to raise up the work of our lay pastoral care team led by Bob Arevalo and our grief group led by Edie Kaplan, who are here for our members who are in times of transitions in their lives. If you have a pastoral need that is not being met, please ask. We are not mind readers, and we often don't know about things. So no one here needs to face life alone. That is our covenant with one another. We each give in our own way, and giving of ourselves is a spiritual discipline. Each week, we live out this spiritual discipline, this explicit sharing of not only ourselves, but our financial gifts to help sustain the congregation and its mission and vision. Now, this week, being the fourth Sunday, we do have our rituals. We give our collection today to an organization chosen by the Social Justice Committee. Today's offering will go to the Multicultural Health Institute. I'd like to invite up Angela and Mary Jo to let you know a little bit more about the Multicultural Health Institute before we start the offering.
Good morning. I'm Mary Jo Smeriker, and I am a member of the Social Justice Team. I am honored to serve as a volunteer with the Multicultural Health Institute located in Newtown. With me this morning is Angela Miles, a longtime MHI volunteer, and there are several others who are here as well, and they would like to meet you after the service. MHI is a nonprofit health organization founded more than 30 years ago by Dr. Lisa Merritt, a dedicated physician who has devoted her career to improving access to quality health care, especially for those who are most in need. MHI's mission is simple and powerful: to level the playing field and close the health equity gap in underserved communities. Every day, the MHI team works alongside individuals. I'm sorry. Excuse me. We have to switch people. I don't want to read Angela's part.
Good morning. Okay. MHI is a nonprofit health organization founded more than 30 years ago. By Dr. Lisa Merritt, dedicated physician who has devoted her career to improving access to quality health care, especially for those who are most in need. MHI's mission is simple and powerful: to lead the playing fields and close health equity gap in underserved communities. Every day, the MHI team works alongside individuals with facing complex challenges. We help many people navigate a confusing healthcare system and support them in advocating for their own well-being. We also provide education about environmental factors and affect health. As such, air pollution, pesticides, and extreme heat. We partner with other organizations to extend our reach and deepen our impact. In 2025 alone, MHI staff and volunteers participated in 169 different events, both in person and virtual, reaching nearly 6,000 individuals. More than 5,000 people received direct and personal assistance.
We are investing in the future. MHI inspires mentors and supports high school and college students, our MHI scholars, who are pursuing studies in science, technology, engineering, the arts, mathematics. We want them to be interested in healthcare careers. These young scholars are preparing to build a healthier, more equitable future for our community. Looking ahead, MHI is working to launch a community health worker training program, expanding the number of people equipped to help others navigate healthcare and insurance systems and creating meaningful job opportunities. We are also developing a caregiver tracker notebook to help families manage complex medical information. And we are expanding our digital presence to make trusted healthcare information more accessible. The need in our community is great. The work is far from finished. As part of our Share the Plate, I invite you to give generously as you can. Your contribution helps MHI continue this vital work with compassion, creativity, and lasting impact. Thank you.
Wow. I just want to say I love the confluence of events. I planned this sermon topic 6 months ago, and we have the Multicultural Health Institute as share of the plate. And Monday night, I do want to personally invite you to come to the Nehemiah Action, where we will be addressing local officials on the issue of mental health for those underserved communities. So I love the way a plan comes together without even planning it. Our reading today, maybe it was planned and I didn't know about it also. Our reading today is from Marina Keegan, an excerpt from The Opposite of Loneliness. We don't have a word for the opposite of loneliness, but if we did, I could say that's what I want in life. It's not quite love, it's not quite community, it's just this feeling that there are people, an abundance of people who are in this together, who are on our team. Our groups make us feel loved and safe and part of something, even on our loneliest nights when we stumble home. I'm scared of losing this web that we're in, this elusive, indefinable opposite of loneliness. What we have to remember is that we can still do anything. We can change our minds. We can start over. We must not lose this sense of possibility. Because in the end, it's all that we have. We don't have a word for the opposite of loneliness, but if we did, I'd say that's how I feel here. How I feel right now here with all of you. In love, impressed, humbled, scared, and we don't have to lose that. We're in this together. Let's make something happen in this world. And now, one more time, the beautiful music of Nhat. Lilua R. Villagameza, in her writing Mending Broken Hearts, wrote, "The role of spirituality in cardiac illness," states, "spirituality is the dimension of human life that has been regarded as the central artery that permeates, energizes, and enlivens all other dimensions, may serve as a buffer for the stressful physical, emotional, and psychological events associated with illness. Spirituality is the manner by which human beings make sense of life events and establish meaning of their existence amid potentially life-threatening illnesses. Spirituality is a universal phenomenon." Now, part of my training to be a minister was to spend time as a chaplain in a hospital. You know, I know when I'm in the hospital, I just want the best doctor in the world. And I do. I trust modern medicine. And yet, during my time working as a chaplain, I came to realize just how important a person's frame of mind was in regard to their healing process. Now, we know this factually from multiple studies of people that have been given placebos and having just as much success in healing certain diseases as people given actual medicines. But I just want to really be clear to say that this isn't to say that belief replaces medicine or that anybody whose body doesn't heal has somehow failed spiritually. Those are false statements, and I want to say that categorically. I just want you to consider that the mind's power has a role in the healing process, and even how we live through the process. So how can we help ourselves or help others actualize this? Different people find comfort in different ways. I believe helping people find where they find meaning in life in and of itself can be comforting. Sometimes comforting others can just be the simple reassurance that there are other people who care for them, so they realize that they are not alone. Just being present with someone to listen to their story can be comforting for them. I remember once at the end of a visit with a patient in which they explored their feelings about death, forgiveness, their relationship with their family, and the patient told me that the conversation was the best medicine they had all day. But why do we have to wait so long until we have these discussions? Why is it also sometimes easier to have these discussions with people who we don't really know well versus those closest to us? Too often people long for these discussions. They bottle them up inside and don't share their innermost thoughts with anyone. And this bottling up of our feelings and thoughts leads us to feelings of loneliness, whether we are alone or with many other people. If you cannot share yourself, your true self, with others, doesn't matter how many people are there, it can be very lonely. I grew up in New York City, 8 million people. It was a very lonely city. You know, if you cannot share your mountaintop dreams or your valley of despair, if you cannot share even your guilty pleasures and your superficial pettiness, right, you will feel lonely, right? So how do we move beyond this fear? How do we become open to sharing our innermost selves, even with ourselves sometimes, right? We're almost afraid sometimes to admit it to ourselves, but as well as with others. Because if we can learn to share in an appropriate way with others, it will lead us to feel whole. It will heal what ails us down in our soul. So how do we overcome this fear of loneliness? Well, this tree is the tree of contemplative practices. I don't know if you can read it. I know some of you in the back may have trouble reading that. It's from the center of the contemplative mind in society. I put it on my Facebook page last night if you want to go back and reference it. I think it gives us clues as ways to connect both with our inner self and the world around us. It's not just one thing, right? It's not just the internal work or the external work. It requires multiple branches of work. At the root of it all, as you see on the bottom, it says communion, connection, and awareness. And in this case, when I say communion, don't mean anything about with wine and bread, okay? By communion, I mean to be in relationship with, right? What our culture calls communion is just a ritual that helps people connect and be in relationship with that transcending mystery and wonder of the universe. And to be in relationship with everyone who joins with us. This tree, this congregation provides such opportunities for such relationships. The other root is the root of awareness. The Indian mystic Osho said, a Buddha is a person of awareness. A Buddha is not trying to narrow down their consciousness. On the contrary, they have been trying to drop all barriers so that they become totally available to existence. With the rush of information and sensory stimulation, it's easy to lose oneself, like the story, the mouse with the iPhone. I know I can relate to that. You know, I'm getting ready to go to bed and I start going through reels. I realize it's a half hour later and I didn't read the thing I wanted to read. I even forgot what it was I wanted to read. It seems so daunting, though, to be available to all of existence. But look at all the things that mouse missed out on, right? All of us can miss out on those things if we don't pay attention, right? The tree gives us multiple branches. The branches are stillness, ritual, generative, movement, creative, relational, activist. Each branch has examples of practices. And there is no one right way, there's no one way or the other way, but multiple ways. I think that is part of our pluralistic tradition. And it doesn't have to be a regimented march from A to Z. In fact, many of us in our lifetime may never experience all of this, but we have to find and experience what works for us. Right? If we hope to experience healing, if we hope to experience wholeness, if we hope to experience the opposite of loneliness, we must start, and we must start somewhere. Our role as a religious community is to come together to be in relationship with each other and to participate in these practices to make our lives and the world a better place. Now, if you'll notice on the top of the tree, if you can get to the top of the tree, it includes the branch activist. And we cannot be whole if we ignore the suffering of others. That is the point of that. And in helping others, we help ourselves, right? But we cannot help others unless our own roots, our relationships, and our awareness are strong and centered. And to be strong and centered, we must water those roots with nutrients of spiritual practice. Again, it's not an either or both and. We can find stillness and bear witness. We can have retreats and volunteer. We can be creative and sit vigil with people. We can share rituals and make pilgrimages. We can make pilgrimages to where social justice issues are highlighted. Pilgrimages of our mind, pilgrimages of our heart, pilgrimages of our soul, and pilgrimages of action. We as human beings are capable of tremendous things, as the reading said. Let us travel that road together so that we may each bring comfort to each other, so that we may bring a fearlessness to our task of a healthy body, mind, and spirit. Now, not everybody will mend. That is the hard truth of being human. But there is another kind of healing, the healing of the soul, the healing of the soul that comes when we stop living in the future we fear or the past we cannot change, and we let ourselves be fully here, deeply here, in this room, in this breath, with love for others all around us, and to receive the love of others all around us. That healing is always available to us. Always. May it be so. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit for our closing hymn, 1021. Lean on me. Feel free to clap or dance or whatever else moves you. Thank you for keeping me on 2 and 4. Our closing words are the adaptation from the book of Isaiah. Let us heal ourselves, but let our healing not end with ourselves alone. Where there is injury, teach us repair. Where there is injustice, teach us courage. Where the nations are wounded, let leaves of healing grow. Send us from this hour gentler in speech, steadier in hope, and more ready to care for one another. Amen. Please join me in extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together Thank you all for your presence here today. Go forth and love each other.